Hari Om. Good evening, everyone. We continue on our journey in Kindle Life. So let's begin this beautiful session with prayers.
समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Hari Om to you all. The path of divinity. The three thought conditions under which human mind functions are: 1. Sattva, the predominantly pure; the Raja, the predominantly agitated; and Tama, the predominantly inactive, dull. Let us find out more about this.
Yesterday, we had started with the chapter Man and the Divinity, the Path of Divinity, when we learned that a man can identify himself with a stone and be completely ignorant. When a man can identify himself with a plant and can be predominantly lethargic. When a man, which most men are, can identify with an animal and only live to fight, procure, and be completely egocentric. Why? Why can then a man not identify himself with God? Why can he not become God? The Hindu scriptures say that he can, when he imbibes the qualities of God. So just imagine what God is and what are his qualities. And imagine even further that this God is in you, within you, and you just need to recognize that. When man can chasten his desires and thoughts and ultimately end them, when he rises from the tamas and even eliminates the last traces of sattva, that is the time when man becomes God. Like Jagdish just said, the three conditions of the mind, sattva, the pure and noble; rajas, the passionate and the agitated; tamas, the dull and the inactive. These are the three types of thoughts for the functioning of one's mind. So mind is essentially made up of permutations and combinations of these three. And that is what actually determines every individual personality. So each of us are a combination of these three, and depending upon the combination, it is what we are or what our minds or character is. The mind and intellect are composed of these three. The difference being, now just think of what I said, the mind and the intellect both are composed of these three. But then what is the difference? The difference is the mind is an instrument for feelings, and intellect is the discriminating faculty or the judging faculty. Tells us which is right from wrong. We also saw yesterday the two types of discrimination that we have within us, or two types of intellect, buddhi. One is the sthula buddhi, which is called the gross intellect. What does that do? it discriminates between the objective world, the world of objects. Second type is the Sukshma Buddhi, or the subtle intellect. This subtle intellect discriminates between the transcendental and the terrestrial, or between the spiritual and the secular. That is the main difference between these two buddhis. Yesterday we had to do some other points also, which we shall complete today of the same chapter. We are now talking about mind and intellect within man. We also went ahead and spoke about desires. After listening to Sukshma Buddhi and Sthula Buddhi, we also can understand now that why even a brilliant person, a person who is brilliant in his application in the secular world, he cannot or he fails to understand the import of scriptures. Why is that? Now this we can understand it is because of the combination of all these three factors within him. The texture and the quality of his intellect, however sharp the gross intellect is, it cannot penetrate and understand the truth beyond the realms of matter. His mind and intellect is connected only with things which are in the realm of matter, or which has which type of buddhi? The Sthula Buddhi. To have Sukshma Buddhi, to transcend beyond the material into the spiritual, you require a special combination. We also saw that what is our mind is also the thoughts which are continuously flowing. The thoughts flowing in our mind are manifestations of the related desires which are entertained by us. So what are the kind of thoughts that we get in our mind? Those which are related to our desires. Hence, when the desires are overcome, the divinity within us unfolds itself. The Bhagavad Gita beautifully describes the three types of veiling over which the self is hidden.
Here, I would just want to get one point.
Please.
Over here, I would like to get your attention to a point. First, desires come. Then the thoughts think on the desires. So in the chronology, you should understand this. That sometimes we wonder, Ashwin, pata nahi kahan se ye thought mere मन में आ गया? From where did this thought land in my mind? From where? From a deep-rooted desire which even you may not be aware.
Which we call as?
The deep-rooted vasanas. So understand this. That before a thought current appears in your mind, it is the intellect which shoots this desire. That's what I just wanted to get a point on.
The inherent tendencies which we have already done in the earlier chapters, the vasanas. But what it is composed of, all of this are these three, the sattva, the raja and the tama.
Please continue.
So what are the desires? Yesterday we had stopped at a particular point when we had spoken about what are sattvic desires also, and what are the rajasic desires, and what are the tamasic desires. The sattvic or the pure or noble desires. In short, if I were to give an example of it, whenever you have the desire to do something good, something noble, something for everybody to share, whether it is spiritual or sometimes even not spiritual, of the world also. Like in COVID situation, if the desire comes into you, let me see how I can help other people, how I can go forward and do something for others. Now that is a sattvic desire. You want to do something. You desire to do something for the benefit of others also. The rajasic desires are which they are passionate and egocentric. So rajasic desires are always full of activity. You want to passionately do something. oh yes, I want to go forward and do something.
But for mainly to kith and kin or to oneself.
Yeah.
So basically for one own self.
The Rajasic, that importance is that it is
Difference, yeah.
generally related. It can encompass those who you love, but they are mainly for yourself.
Me and mine. That is what Gurudev has said. Me and mine. And the example, Rashi, in this situation, so as Rashi said, the example of COVID, you want to do something nice. In COVID situation, oh, I'm stuck at home. How is that I can make some money from here only? Let me do something that I can create something for myself or do something like that which will, make me happy or make me richer. It's a Rajasic desire.
The mind starts working to procure, to get, to have something for oneself. And then finally are the tamasic desires, which are obstinate, arrogant, and totally egoistic. We'll continue with the same COVID situation right now. Okay, COVID is there. If I want, I will wear the mask or not. It doesn't matter what other people say. Yeah, I have the fear of the government, so I will wear. But principally, I don't care whether other people are falling unwell or not falling unwell due to some mistakes that I am making. As long as I am protected, I am here, and what I think is correct. What other things, it doesn't matter.
Purely.
So these kind of people also you will find. You will find people who will break the queues, who will not keep the distancing. Why? Because they want to get something before you. So this kind of obstinate, arrogant behavior, only for selfish purposes alone, are these kind of tamasic desires.
And also, you can work from home. There is so many things that you can do at home. No, kyun karna? I wanted to do, but COVID, you see, that's why I can't do. Giving reasons. This is procrastination. Not doing it now. We'll do it after COVID ut jayega, then we'll do it. Procrastination. Tamas.
We know that tamasic behavior is completely inert. It does not like to move. It does not like to do anything. Very dull and very inert. But how to get over it? There will be times, and when we reflect upon our own lives, we will see that all of us have at certain time or the other been a victim of these desires and have had those tendencies also. But we do not stop at problems. We know how to overcome these things also. So this Gurudev has very nicely explained to us that the sattvic desires are there. They are very easy to get rid of. They are like the smoke which just passes by. Very quickly it will disperse. It goes away. Rajasic desires are like there is a dust on the mirror and you have to take some effort to clean the dirt and then you can see clearly. Those are Rajasic desires. However, tamasic desires are the most difficult to get rid of and it takes time. How has Gurudev explained that? That the divinity lies enveloped in them like a fetus in a womb. The indication is that these desires, excuse me, these desires cannot be removed forthwith by mere effort. It takes a good deal of time and patience, like that of a fetus, to grow and emerge from the womb. So if you want a consciousness to arise out of tamas, just like a fetus takes time to grow also and come also, you require patience and time.
And work.
Self-effort is the most important.
But please do not misunderstand this example that pregnancy or birth is tamas. No. It's just an example how that effort is so much more. But that's why it is called labor.
Yes. In fact, the fetus is compared to the consciousness, to the God within you, which needs to come out through the covering of the womb. That is what it means. The religion helps us to chasten our desires and thoughts, and so as to ultimately end them. And as we rise from the tamas, Now, over here, one word is missing in some of the books which are there. In my book, also, it was missing. Please note the sentence correctly. The absolute last paragraph, last sentence. Religion helps us to chasten our desires and thoughts so as to ultimately end them. And as we rise from tamas to the rajas, divinity gradually unfolds itself, and when the last traces of sattvic desires are also eliminated, man becomes.
And becomes God.
Our Guruji and Gurudev have always told us, don't think of this as not possible. You have seen in your lifetime and you have heard of saints and Mahatmas and Gurus who have transcended from being a mere man to achieving the status of God, to actually merge in that consciousness to become God Himself.
So these are not exaggerations.
Yeah, this is very, very much possible.
Facts.
Have faith, believe, and work at it. So let us continue now in the next chapter. Chapter number 22, the state of divinity. Godhood is experienced in the state of thought extinction. It is the state of being when the mind is totally transcended. Divinity is the very nature and essence of man, but it lies covered under the encrustation of thoughts. When thoughts cease to erupt, man attains Godhood. Religion indicates the different paths to reality. It prescribes various techniques for the extinction of thoughts by quietening and transcending the mind. Very clearly now we saw what the problems were, now we are seeing the solutions. What is the path to follow? What is the method to be taken? Essentially, we need our minds to become completely devoid of thoughts. We have seen earlier, yes, Jagdish, that a mind is a continuous flow of thoughts.
Previous chapters.
And we just read a little while ago that the thoughts every man entertains are related to his desires. So essentially, this continuous flow of thoughts needs to be stopped for a person to able to transcend from the world of objects to the world of spirituality. Mind is related to thoughts as river is related to water. A mind is not merely thoughts, just as river is not merely water. It is the flow of water that makes a river. So too, it is the flow of thoughts which creates the mind. A mind thus created veils the divine self within us. Scriptures aim at transcending the mind by arresting and ending the thought flow and thereby unfolding the divinity inherent in us. The flow in each case generates power and dynamism. A mere collection of water, however large it may be, lies inert and powerless. When, however, it starts moving, it gathers strength and dynamism. So also thoughts flowing in rapid succession create a dynamic mind which projects the apparently permanent, stable, and concrete world experienced by us. A similar phenomena is seen when the glowing point of a stick is swiftly revolved in darkness. The rapidity of its movement produces distinct and clear figures which appear real. Another example of the same principle from the modern world is the movies. The pictures in the film are, by themselves, inert and insentient, but solid, substantial, and sentient scenes appear on the screen when the film moves in the projector. Isn't that right?
Yeah, actually, this is something which we must really speak of it again.
Please.
The example given is like a torch, or what we call as the sursuri in Diwali. after it is lit, when we move our hands fast in the dark and make images, you actually see a persistence of vision. Continuously, then you see those figures. In reality, there is no figure, but still we see it. Same way, in the movies, there is no human being there. It's a screen. Upon the screen, something is just being projected in a continuous flow. So, because of this persistence of vision, once again, we think as though it is there. It appears.
Yes. It is, you've seen, like in a film reel, you can imagine that every photograph over there is just still. It is inert. But when it moves, it appears to be moving on the screen. So you actually see that something is happening.
This is what he said. The mind does create veils and veils the divine self within us. Why? Because continuously we are seeing things in our world. The moment we open our eyes, the world is open outside. The moment we go to sleep, the world is going in the mind. So how will we see the divinity?
Another very beautiful thought process was that which we just had imagined some time ago, few years ago, has become a reality today. So we can see that in so many, especially in the field of science, things which were just thoughts, which were just in your mind, have actually projected and become creations today. Who could ever imagine that a man can go on the moon? But obviously somebody imagined it, and that imagination became a reality. So the thought, when it is projected on the mind has the capacity to create it into what we think of as reality. It can project as though it is very real. So this is a beauty of mind. Let us continue.
Yeah.
Human mind today is completely out of control, flowing in all directions. It is like a river in spate. Our primary attempt should be to prevent the flow spreading in all directions by controlling, harnessing, and regulating it. This is achieved by reinforcing the banks, which decide the direction of the flow. Hence, the intellect has to be chastened and chiseled with the help of scriptures. So, here we have seen, and we know it to be true, that a million thoughts in a second almost. Mind is running everywhere. We are trying to concentrate here, but mind is going somewhere else. Happens to us all the time. It's completely out of control. And this has to be given a proper direction. And in order to do that, the banks, that is our intellect, which holds our flow of thoughts in the right direction, it gives it the right direction to go. Our intellect needs to be very sharp.
That's why the analogy fits so beautifully that just any flowing water is not river. A river is in between two banks and in a particular direction, not in multi-direction.
Correct. Again, the nature of the river is dependent upon the quality and texture of the water flowing in it. If the water is muddy, the river is muddy. If the water is fast, the river is fast, and so on. Likewise, the thoughts are directly related to the mind and the mind to man. As the thoughts, so the mind. As the mind, so the man. No man, therefore, can be changed or reformed unless his mind changes, and the mind can never change unless the structure and composition of the thoughts are changed. A change in thoughts can be effected by three methods, namely, by reducing the quantity of thoughts, by improving the quality of thoughts, and by giving a different direction to the thoughts. How incredibly beautiful.
Unbelievable it is.
The problem has been told to us in its entirety that it is the mind which is causing problems, it is out of control. And this mind has to be reined in. And how to do so? And see this sentence over here. As the As the thoughts, so the mind. As the mind, so the man. And the quality of his thoughts need to be at so much better and higher level. And how to do that? No man can be changed or reformed unless his mind changes. And the mind can never change unless the structure and composition of thoughts are changed. It's the problem. The solution is also given that there are three things we can do to change our thoughts. It can be effected by reducing the quantity of thoughts. Why to think unnecessarily? This heroine has done that, that hero has done that. Okay, we read it as news in gossip. Why give it so much of thought which is not really required? Or this man said this to be, that man's. And how many unnecessary thoughts that come into our mind which can definitely be eliminated. Secondly, by reducing, the first was by reducing the quantity of thoughts. Secondly, by improving the quality of thoughts. Really, our mind can go anywhere. It can fall to the worst depths and it can surprise us. Why am I thinking like that? It comes as a shock. Where is my mind going?
On the other hand, it can reach the highest realm of philosophy, of science, of any topic that you can think of. But you need to apply the mind in a higher realm. The quality of the thoughts have to be improved. Quantity has to be reduced. Quality has to be improved. And
finally, it has to be given direction. Just like the river in Spain, when the banks are good, it has to be given a particular direction. You will do this as an exercise also, and you probably also have felt it before. You can know sometimes that your mind is wandering, the thoughts are going wrong. You can actually feel it. And when that occurs to you, arrest that complete thought and give it a direction to go in a good manner, to go to a higher realm or a better thought. They are declared in Hinduism by three well-known yogas. Now see how Gurudev has connected. Now you will come across more and more words which are Vedantic in nature. In Hinduism, there are three known yogas are called Karma, Bhakti and the Jnana Yoga respectively. In addition to these, there is a fourth yoga called the Hatha Yoga. It is prescribed for those who are underdeveloped both in head and heart. By the practice of these yogas, the mind gets purified and is rendered fit for meditative flights. When such a mind is absorbed in meditation, the last traces of thoughts die away, leaving the meditator in a state of absolute bliss. The four yogas prescribed in Hinduism cater to the entire cross-section of humanity. No other religion in the world is as conspicuously endowed with such a catholicity of practical application. The world needs this knowledge as much as Indians do. The state of divinity is not merely a personal achievement. It must culminate in the universal resurrection. How absolutely incredibly beautiful. We have the four paths which have been told to us, the karma, bhakti and the jnana yoga. The fourth is the hatha yoga, which is meant for average people. So all the type of people have been put under that it is possible to reach the divinity by goal by these margs. We will discuss more about it, but tomorrow. Finally, once again, bring your mind to this particular sentence, that no other religion in the world is as conspicuously endowed with such a catholicity. Over here, catholicity means all embracing of practical application. It is not some hocus pocus or some magic or something which will happen. These are practical applications. You do it and you will get it. And you will see it. That is right. And this state of divinity is not related only to Indians. It is universal. It is for mankind. It is for humanity. And when more is required
Than
than now and today. And that is what we need to think about and practice. So today we end our session over here. We will think a little more about the last portion of this chapter tomorrow when we go further. And
Tomorrow,
yes,
incredible topic is coming. It is fundamentals of Vedanta. It is, I can't explain. We have to go through the book.
We will all find it out. So let us end today's session with wonderful prayers again.
Asito ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityormamrutam gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om to all.
Hari Om, everybody.